Hello friends and welcome to the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY and behind the camera Mrs. DIY. And you are my favorite viewer. Today we have an interesting project for you. We're going to try to build something to fit a need we have. Grandpa DIY has joined the homestead and we need a somewhat temporary solution to hang clothes because in this room we have transformed the closet into an office. So we do not have a place to hang clothes. And we have a nice dresser here. So right here next to it, we are going to build something that will allow us to hang clothes that will be easy to take apart for moving, will not be extremely heavy or extremely big, but it will be semi-temporary, I will call it. How about you?
Yeah, but definitely useful so that it can feel more like, an area to manage your clothing and shoes and so forth.
So stick around. This is going to be a very good video. Our first step is to decide how tall we want we'll call it a furniture or?
Well, yeah, it's a clothes hanging rack stand.
And this is about 5 feet here. So 5 feet will be sufficient, I think.
5 or 6.
Yeah. Well, it makes a difference because if it's 6, we need to buy 8 feet boards. If it is 5, we need to buy 6 feet boards because we have to cut the boards. So we need to know what we need. So decide, boss.
Well, what I think will make me happy in the planning phases is if we go to the store and look at the boards and we look at
Yes.
how tall it looks from floor to top.
Thank you for
and then deciding continuity, man.
Thank you for enjoying my pain here.
For how it looks and if it looks sufficient, and if not, we'll get a bigger board.
You see why I don't measure? They say use a measuring tape.
It's user error.
No. It's the dang measuring tape.
For heaven's sake, it's a tape measure.
I know. Okay, so we're going to go on our table out there and make a quick drawing of what we want so we have an idea of the materials. So the general idea is a very open structure with 4 crates at the bottom that will compartmentalize things for maybe shirts or shoes or belts or small items, right? So we'll have 4 sides and it will be about 36 inches wide, and that number is because we chose to be with crates. That can be any number you desire. Each crate is 18 inches, so 2 crates next to each other will give us 36 inches. Mm-hmm. And we decided our height will be 72 inches or 6 feet. And we will need 4 2x4x6s and 4 crates to achieve this project, and 1 dowel. What you see here, that is a dowel so we can put hangers.
Okay.
Am I forgetting anything? Now we haven't decided if here we're going to put a shelf for the second set of crates to be on top, but that is really easy regardless. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we decide things as we build them, so
yep.
That is not a critical component. Excellent. Now the next thing is to head to the supply store. And we found out through our extensive research that Michael's. Michael's has a sale today because it is Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
That have them 40% off, and their price is the same as Home Depot. So 40% off makes them cheaper than Home Depot.
By a lot.
So we're going to Michael's, and then we're going to buy the 4x4s at Lowe's or Home Depot. And the reason we're not building them is for expediency. However, we have built them. We have an episode in the past that told you how to build them. Mm-hmm. We just want to finish this project in a few hours.
Yep.
So only for that reason we're buying the crates. Crates are very easy to build. And we're going to put a card so you can click on it and go and see that video if you want to build your crates. They're not hard to build at all. Reviewing my drawing here, which is a total to scale. As you know, I'm always very detailed about that. Yeah. I realized I made a mistake. I drew the side as the front. There are only 2 height. There are 4 openings in the back, but there are only 2 crates one on top of each other on the side. So this that I have X out doesn't exist. Forget you saw it. It was never here. All right? So that's the only correction. And we decided to buy an extra 2x4x6 just in cases. Hopefully to avoid going to the store again, which we might not avoid, but that's okay. So today we're going to build this modern open closet organizer thingy. I don't know what we call it. But it allows you to hang some clothes, and of course put some shoes or other small shirts, things, small items here. And we're going to show you everything you need to know on how to build one of those yourself. There are many variations that you can build, and if you want you can even put wheels on it so you can make it easily movable.
Yeah. And you could use more crates, and you could stack them vertically rather than horizontally on one side.
The possibilities are endless. So if you want to find out how to build something like this, stick around because this is going to be a very fun episode. We spotted the Cybertruck, as you can see. And we are almost at Lowe's to purchase the lumber, and then we're going to head to Michael's to purchase the crates. But the Cybertruck, ugly as always.
This person at least put some paint on it.
You mean Tesla did?
Oh. How do you know that Tesla did?
Because no one paints them other than Tesla.
Why?
They refuse to.
Nobody wants to paint them?
Probably Tesla has that if someone else paints them, you lose warranty.
Oh.
Tesla is like a homeowner association. They have bizarre rules. Like you cannot sell the Cybertruck. If you buy one, you cannot sell it.
Good deal.
Fantastic deal. How long is this light?
As long as it takes.
Speaking of Teslas, we have one in front of us. And a Ford Escape on the other lane. And here we are at the Great Lowe's. Or no,
Squirrely, squirrely, squirrely.
I didn't hear a bump, so he's safe. Or feel a bump, I guess. You cannot hear a bump.
You can hear it when the car goes over it.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are at Lowe's, where we come most every weekend, right?
Give or take.
What if they have an awesome tool sale because it is Memorial Day?
It's not Memorial Day, that's in May.
Labor Day. Memorial Labor, same thing.
It's a Monday.
So we are entering Lowe's from the pro side because we are pro DIYers. You better be a pro to do DIY. So we made a mark here. We're going to cut outside our line here. And of course we're not measuring because we don't believe in that. We're using the two crates to determine the width of the pieces.
Yep.
So we're going to go and cut our first cut. The first cut is the hardest. So we're just testing our first cut. This is our first cut. That will be cut again. It's going to rip in two. We don't need it this wide. And we're testing that our crates are the same dimension throughout, and they seem to be. It is a tight cut, but that is okay. It's going to be a tight fit, but that is okay. So our next step is to remove the round over from the 2x4s. You always have to do that when you're doing furniture, right? So we're going to do that on all three pieces, with three pieces, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe you need to move this a little bit closer. Just like barely touching.
table saw is by far the best tool to do this. No other tool I can think of can do such a good job of removing the round of the sides of a 2x4 or a 2x6 or any other dimensional lumber. I've tried other methods and nothing is as efficient, as quickly, and I think as safe as the table saw. I've never had any problems doing this, and I've done it many times in the past, and it is a great way and one of the most unique aspects of owning a table saw. Again, cannot be duplicated by any other tool. It is the only tool that I know of. Leave any comment below if you have another tool that can do as good job as the table saw in removing the round corners of a 2x4 or a 2x6. Okay, we're going to repeat that 2 more times?
Yep, 2 more
Okay.
times, and then we'll have to move it again to take the
Right.
other side off.
A similar procedure. As you can see, we have taken the round of one of the sides. We need to do it on the other. So make sure you put the nearly cut side to the fence and then move the fence again and repeat the process. Heat the material in a slow and steady pace and you're going to get excellent results with absolutely no burning from the table saw blade. Now you have a pieces that both sides are actually very flat because they went through the saw. They are the same dimension with each other, which is also kind of important, not critical, but kind of nice. And also any slight bows have been taken, and you could see that in some of the boards it will simply take smaller and bigger pieces, right? So there were small not huge variations, but now you can see this board is totally parallel with the two sides, right?
Yep.
So our next step is to find the middle of this board and cut it in half.
Well, the long middle, right?
No? We need to-
Yeah, the long middle. Not
The width.
not this middle.
No.
This middle.
Yeah.
That's
it's
all
called
I'm
the
saying.
width. See this?
You said middle.
Yeah, I said middle.
All you said was middle.
I said middle and it is middle and I stand by my middle. So the new dimension of the board is 3 and this line here.
3 1/4.
So not a very easy dimension to find the middle of. So what you're going to do is take your measuring tape or measuring device, find an even number. 4 will be a little too tight, right? But you can do it with the 4 if you see. So you put the 4 in the corner and the 0 in the other side here. Makes sense? And then we can mark the 2, which is the middle between the 4 and the 0. And that is actually the middle of our board. The trick is to translate this dimension to the blade.
Yep.
Excellent, let's do that. So Mrs. DIY will explain to you what we're doing next.
All right, so you can see the dots that we made in the middle of the board. Now we need to kind of extend that dimension to the blade. And we want to make sure that the blade spans either side of the dot. So we're going to put our ruler right in the middle of the top tooth. This is a little blurry for some reason, but see if I can make it a little clear.
If you touch where you need to focus, you should focus.
All right, so it's good. So I have this right in the middle of this tooth, and
We have the fence
it
locked.
aligns on the 2 dots. You can just see them right under there. And so we've locked our fence, and we're going to go ahead and cut it. It should go right down the middle.
Famous last words, right? Like before, the key here is a slow and steady feed rate. You do not have to make the saw work too hard, do not overfeed it, and do not go too slow. Going too slow might burn the wood, and as you have seen in our result, we have 0 burn marks. Of course, a decent saw blade makes a big difference here. If you're using a dull blade, you're going to get burn marks, and you're going to have to push very hard. As you can see here, I do not have to push very hard for the wood to go through, and that's exactly what you want. Easy and steady is going to give you the best result, and you are not going to tax your tool more than you absolutely have to. And now we have two equally dimensioned pieces of wood, right?
Yep.
And as you can see, they're identical actually. I don't see any problem.
Identical.
Identical. So make sure that when you cut it with the freshly cut side to the fence. If you do a mistake like this, in this case it will go through, so you know you made a mistake. Right? It's not wide enough. So really you cannot make a mistake, right? If you use 2x4s, because
Right.
the half dimension is actually just slightly bigger than this dimension here. So that's good. So the process for the vertical boards is the same as we did before. We're going to start by removing the roundover on one side, we remove the roundover on the other side, and then we're going to cut them in half.
Yep.
Also called dripping. So we're not going to show you that, this is the same process. And look at the mess we made here. Have you seen our saw more loaded than this, Mrs. DIY?
Not in a long time.
Alright, so a little bit of cleaning is in order.
Magic of suction.
Yep. So we've cut the pieces for our width. Now we need to cut the pieces for our depth, right?
Yep.
And the way we're going to do that is by using one of our, whatever you call this thing. the doohickeys.
Crates.
Yeah. The crate things. And a piece of scrap to just mark. So we need a minimum of this. Now here is a designing choice. You can have a bigger base than your, what we call this again? Than the shelf you're making with
Right.
this. And then you can have that a little bit out, have a little more space that is more hidden behind, whatever you want. So what are we doing? Are we doing the exact size, or you want a little more?
This is going to be sitting on top of this.
No,
Or
we'll
no.
sit on top of the other two.
Oh, it's going to sit on top of the front and the back.
Yeah.
So then, how would we make it longer if we have to put a rail here?
The rail goes on this regardless of how long it is.
I know.
The rail will be here instead of the end. Not a big deal.
Okay.
This was to show you that even if you don't have a chop saw, you can make those cuts safely, because those cuts are not very safe if you move them this way, right?
Right.
You cannot use the fence and the miter at the same time.
Right.
But when you do it the way we just showed you, you can. And it looks like we need 2, 4, we need one more, 6, right?
Yep.
Because we want this to be able to be taken apart, we are going to go with pocket screws and no glue. Normally, if you want it more permanent, you can add glue into the pocket screw genre, right?
Yep.
This will be marginally weaker, but we don't only want it to last a couple of months.
Yeah.
So we'll forego the glue.
Yeah. It needs to last that long.
Okay. Again, with pocket screws, remind to make your pockets on the same side of the board. Otherwise, you made a mistake. We're not sponsored by Minecraft or Irwin. It's just the material we use, the tools we have. I like Irwin clamps. Excellent. With the frame almost assembled, a little bit of Tetris. Don't put pressure with your hands there, that you will come apart. Only from the top. And a tight fit, but we do have a little percussive persuasion if we needed to. Come down this way first. More. Because you're open there, honey. So come down. All right, excellent. Like every project you start and you think it's going to be simple, this project ended up being a little more complex than we thought, right? First of all, the crates were not very consistent. Don't step anymore back, you will follow.
Yep.
The crates were not very consistent in dimension, so they needed a little percussive persuasion and a little bit of compressive persuasion to get in place, but they did get in place. The frame is almost ready. We're going to have to put two side connections to allow for the close to hang.
Yep.
And we are getting to the home stretch. This is DIY. What was the most difficult part so far?
The most difficult part was the assembly of the first pieces of the frame, because we didn't really have a workspace that was big enough right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to let you know in the next few weeks why, but our assembly table is full of stuff and cannot be used for assembly. And this project really requires an assembly table.
Yep.
But anyway, we have a little bit more to show you, so stick around.
Alright, so it is coming together. It looks like we have one last piece brace across the top, but everything is coming along nicely. We have our 4 shelf units, and we got some space in the back if something needed to hang along. And we've got definitely a lot of support here, and the next piece we're going to put on is going to be the one to hold the pole, which is the hanging pole.
All right? Yes.
All right.
So we needed a wider piece for the post, the pole we're going to put to hang clothes from. So we found a piece of scrap, we cut it in 2. Those are the 2 pieces. And the dimension is specific to our application. It has to be the depth of your application, right?
Right.
Whatever depth you go with. And we're going to make an opening that is about 1 inch in diameter, because that happened to be the dimension of the pole we have.
Yep. Did we hit the treated wood?
Yeah, that's why the treated wood was there.
Yeah, but I was just wondering
So
if we
not
got all the
splinter.
way through. Okay.
All right, so now we're going to use screws and attach this here, and we'll be done with that process. So this is the one side that we're going to put the pole, and here is the other, and we are just attaching it with screws.
Okay. So we've got the last brace on the top here, and we are slowly working our close pole through the hole to the other side. Takes a little bit of elbow grease just because it's a tight fit, which we want.
Very loud.
Yeah, it is loud.
Okay. I've been framed. We are done as far as the construction is. Of course, this is the Urban Homesteading channel, and it wouldn't be a project until Mrs. DIY both sands for a couple of hours, or 3 or 4 hours,
Hey,
And then the idea behind this specific piece of furniture is to stain it to match what we have inside that we saw you in the beginning. But this is the end product, however, as far as the construction is concerned. We just have to do some finishing touches.
Yep.
You can leave it like that if that's what you like, if the look you like. You clearly can paint it, you can stain it. Again, we're going to stain it. And we might show you the finished project on the Wednesday short. But for now, this is our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know, do you like projects like this? And if you do, we'll do more for you. From Professor DIY and Mrs. DIY, let's build something together.